This is Spirit Soul Sense, Information for Your Soul, and I am Rarest, an INFJ, which means the Myers-Briggs Personality Type Test, which stands for Introversion, Intuition, Feeling, and Judgment. It says it's supposed to be the rarest personality type. I have met one Black man who is an INFJ, and here on YouTube, I've seen a lot of non-Black people who are INFJs. So I want to have
welcome to my channel. This is Spirit Soul Sense, Information for Your Soul. I am reviewing my own INFJ video. I did not want to create a Myers-Briggs YouTube channel. I really just wanted to highlight parts of my personality that I thought would resonate with other folks who would like my content. I have since met another INFJ woman, and then realized that all of my sisters, after they took the INFJ test, after they took the Myers-Briggs test, came up as INFJ. Like, if you meet us in real life, we're basically the same person, just to varying degrees, honestly. I also have another INFJ Sisters video on my channel. Well, let's get into it because you can see my locks are so much longer. This is 3 years, 4 years maybe, almost 4 years since I did this video.
About my experience as an INFJ. I took the test first when I was an undergraduate, and I didn't think much about it. I don't even think I realized it was rare. I was like, yeah, I'm an introvert. I get that. I'm passionate. I get that. I just didn't really think much about it. I took it again when I was in graduate school, and at that time I was thinking about my goals in life, and I think it gave me some insight into like who I am, and it packaged my personality in a way that I really hadn't thought about, and it made me like feel more secure, knowing that I'm kind of weird, I'm different, and I don't really.
That's true. I am weird. Also, another tool that packages you very well is your birth chart. And then your birthday personality, I think, packages you well so that you can see, well, I'm good at this, I'm not good at this. There's other people like you that are also this thing, right? I think it's just helpful seeing ourselves represented in that way. Like, I don't know, it made me feel like my life made sense. It made me feel like my personality made sense. In the grand scheme of the world, where people are sheep, understanding that part, it really did something for me. Something really, really positive.
I relate to a lot of people. So reading about myself in a detailed way like that was like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Everyone isn't like that. Like, compassionate. I mean, I was living in a bubble for a while. I was. Mm-hmm. So like when I read that, I got a lot of information about how I interact with other people. And, I read a lot of the other personality types and how those types interact with other people. And it's just different. I don't think there's a better or right way. I just have one style of personality. And what makes the world such a beautiful place is that everyone is not the same. So I'm an INFJ. One of the things that they talk about, they call the personality an advocate personality, which fits me, definitely. I studied psychology. I guess I champion for equality and equal rights for everyone. I really made it my mission to learn as much as I can about oppressed groups, like the LGBTQIA community. That's very important to me. I think as a Black woman, I've also been sensitive to a lot of issues that maybe someone who's not Black, who's an INFJ, wouldn't be drawn to.
I've actually since, I want to say temper is not the right word, but found better balance in being an advocate for others, being an advocate for myself, and then having peace in life. So right now on my channel, you'll see a lot of videos about Black women embracing ease. I was never a martyr, right? I never did anything to my own detriment. Well, not be true. In my process of being a psychologist, because I understand that to reach high places, there's a level of sacrifice that goes into it. I worked a lot for free because as a student and you're training, you're not getting paid for the training, right? You pay the school to train you so that you can learn more about psychology. And so in that way, I was staying up like late at night to get things done. And I felt like at that time it fits, like it made sense in my life that this is a thing I would do because I want to be a psychologist. But then after I became a psychologist, I think in my internship year, realizing my advocacy around some other folks was being received negatively. It was my first time thinking, I don't have to deal with this. I don't really like that. I realized, no, I can't change the system. I can change how I operate in the system. I can give my best to help people. But I'm not going to go out of my way to advocate or fight for someone who's not fighting for themselves, even when they can. And then when the consequence then for me could be some form of retaliation. I'm not interested in that. It doesn't really feel worth it to me.
I can get the sense that they would be drawn to, oppression, equality, things like that. But living on Earth as a Black woman means that you get a lot of information in a way that a lot of other people don't get it. Because you're a woman and because you're Black, it's like a double whammy of experiences, especially if you're living here in America. Mm-hmm. So Black issues are very important to me. I really spent a lot of time learning about the structural racism, institutional racism. I think those are more important, honestly, than individual experiences of racism.
And even though I have content that I think can help the Black community on my channel is also not a Black advocacy, Black education. The purpose here is to spread love and light, to encourage people to reflect on their lives, what they do, their habits, so that they can shift those to live with as much joy and peace as possible. But I'm really not out here trying to teach people, white or Black, honestly, about anti-Blackness. It's always an underlying part of what I do because I'm so aware of it. Literally, the fabric of the way America works is on the foundation of anti-Blackness. But I don't have to talk about that in every video. It's a thing that exists. It's true. I'm going to show you, even though that exists, and there are people working to dismantle that you can live your best life. That you can literally have your dream life right now. Right now, like your 20s and 30s, you could be living the life that you want. You could wake up every day feeling excited and hopeful and like ready to take on whatever challenges or fun you have for the day. The struggle part of being Black, I don't resonate with. It's an important part of our history, but we are in 2023. We don't have to struggle.
I experience microaggressions, but I understand that the goal, and if we want to really see change, is to dismantle the whole system of racism, which is built on capitalism, which is built on the backs of Black and brown people. And I think the way I can do that in my personal life is by making sure my money is right. I think once we get our economics right as a Black community, we will see a lot of changes. But anyway, that's one of my soapboxes. LGBTQIA is also another cause that I think is very important. And so in my life, I make it a habit to interact as respectfully as I can, to be an advocate in any way that I can, and not just someone who says nice things about people who are from that community, because what people from that community need is policy changes. The government to stop, I say the government, but I think America reflects the ideology of a middle-aged white man who's racist. And that's not everyone's experience. There are middle-aged white men who are kind, who are advocates. But America seems to, because those folks have had a lot of the power for a long time, America kind of defers to their ideology, and everything kind of trickles down from the top of the people who have the most power, the 1%, and of those 1%, the people who happen to be racist. That's just the way it is. So as an INFJ, all of those things are very important to me. Looking at it from a bigger picture, having like these goals in mind of, what I'm going to do personally, professionally, and how I can impact my community, the nation on a larger sphere. I think my personality would be great in places of power, but my personality is also not drawn to places of power. I don't want to be the one who is just in control of people and telling people what to do. I want more of a collaboration.
Which also informs how I run my business, because I don't have any employees yet. But in the last year, less than a year, in the last 6 months, I've been thinking about what would it be like, what kind of structure would I like to put in place that would allow me to hire employees without feeling like I'm a cog in the capitalist system, right? How can I include pay that's equitable, include time off as much as I like time off to do nothing and to travel to new places and to see my family? How can I run a successful business, money-making business that's impactful in service to other people, and pay people? And pay people a living wage, pay people so that they can save money, right? How do I do that? That's the kind of business I'm thinking about now, right? This is almost 4 years from this time. So much has changed. Isn't it so interesting?
Be a part of a legislature or to be somebody's mayor. I don't want those things, but I know that because of my personality, I would excel in those kind of things. I'm very fair and equal and, just like a person who has integrity. And I think a lot of government positions are lacking people who feel those things and believe those things and really want to serve the community and not just themselves. But the people who do, push past this discomfort of not wanting to be in the spotlights or, not wanting to have to control or have the power to control a lot of people and a lot of things. When they push past that discomfort, they can really do beautiful things. Also, as an INFJ, people with that personality type have a lot of compassion, right? And so I talked about that, which helped me, champion movements, but also in interpersonal relationships, it's just overwhelming. I think that's the best word for it. It's overwhelming. So I didn't know the word empath until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And so an empath is someone who, kind of sucks in all the feelings of someone who's close to them, whether proximity-wise or, in an intimate relationship. And
it's not so much as sucking up. I don't even remember. It's not so much as sucking up. It is you can feel what other people are feeling. Since implementing boundaries in my life, I don't identify with the feeling anymore, right? I think I used to take on the feeling and then want to fix it for other people. Now I can clearly identify what other people are feeling because of what's triggered in me, but I don't take on that feeling, right? So I may be in the presence of someone who's laughing, but I can sense on the inside that they are sad, empty, lonely. In the past, I would have felt that emptiness, loneliness. I would have felt just so bad, right? Since boundaries, right, learning myself, learning how to protect my peace, my bubble, I can be in the presence of someone, remember what it was like to feel that thing with them before, right? And maintain my peace and my happiness and hold space for their feelings, right? There's no sucking in of what someone else is feeling. I can understand the depth of whatever pain or joy that they're experiencing, but I don't necessarily feel it anymore.
That's definitely been the way my relationships have been throughout my entire life. And I think one of my first experiences of what that felt like, because it's a draining feeling. Mm-hmm. I have friends, right, who I allowed myself to be the dumping ground for their issues, any problems that they were going through, anything that they wanted to vent about. I was there because I'm also an introvert. That's a main part to the personality, and so I would much rather be in the background listening.
How about we don't have these friendships anymore? How about that? How about this? This is the reason I wanted to do this video, this reaction, because I don't do any of this anymore. I just made a video about high vibe friendships. That's what I do now. I don't get any draining feelings from the people in my life right now, even if they're talking to me about something difficult, because I no longer allow people to dump on me. I no longer allow people to be energy vampires and take my energy. I have such good boundaries now that this is a memory. It's a memory. I don't experience this anymore, and I feel so grateful that I have had so much growth even in just a few years.
Than at the forefront getting all the attention. And so in my relationships and friendships, I would allow these friendships to be one-sided. And so there'd be, one friend who would be telling, and I would be, listening, and kind of taking on a lot of the issues that they had. It's not something I did like consciously, but it was draining. And I didn't realize, I felt like it was a privilege to have someone share with me all of their, intimate details and all the issues without even really thinking about the effect that it had on me, spiritually. So it wasn't until many, many years later and many friendships that were mostly one-sided that were increasingly draining, I think, because when I finally realized it wasn't just that the friendship was draining, because my friendships are always draining. It was I was being drained from other areas too, and so there was no reserve for me. And so I realized then, oh my gosh, my friendships are draining. And I kind of need to change this to, feel good for myself. So it's still a work in progress for me. I have not mastered the friendship thing.
The friendship thing is mastered.
And how to find balance. I think in any friendship that I've had, it's just been lopsided. And so I think that's one of my weaknesses that I just have to learn to grow and deal with. Along with being an empath, right, that I've been since childhood, I've also been called an old soul a lot. I think the first time I was called an old soul was as a teenager. I don't remember who called me an old soul, but I remember when I was 19 or 20, in my early 20s, and I worked with a Rasta man who was very, very, Rastafarian, very spiritual, very deep, and we used to work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I don't think I ever worked an overnight shift with him, but during those shifts with him, we in downtime we would have a lot of deep conversations, and he was the first one who kind of broke down to me what an old soul was. And
I remember these conversations so vividly. Right, what the sky looked like, what the courtyard looked like, where we were sitting, it's amazing what we remember and what's so impactful. Usually the memories that we hold on to the most are emotional. I don't even remember having a strong emotion tied to these experiences. Maybe it was the repetition of it, that it happened so many evenings. But it's so detailed in my mind, and I feel more grateful for this experience. The older I get, the less people call me an old soul. And I wonder if that will continue. People expect wisdom, especially from a psychologist, right? Or it's just people expect that the older you get, the more wisdom you have. So I don't typically get the old soul anymore. I think the last time I got that was online. But there's been a pandemic and I haven't really been going outside. So maybe that's too.
How I'm different, even though I was so young in my early 20s, having a lot of wisdom. So old souls generally have a lot of wisdom beyond their age. And so when people talk to them, they get a sense that they're talking to someone who's much older, because the topics that we talk about and the way we talk about things are grounded, level-headed. The goal is about peace and understanding, and it's not combative. So old souls like me are just very calm kind of people who don't get easily offended and kind of take things in stride. And so that's my experience with being an old soul. I'm getting even older now, and I think people still experience me as an old soul. And so I imagine when I'm 80, 105, I don't think anyone will be calling me an old soul. I think they will be saying that I'm extremely wise, because I imagine oh my gosh, in my early 20s, the things I thought I knew, and looking at myself now, it's just people thought I knew a lot of stuff then, and when I look back, I'm I didn't really know much. So now that I've learned even more, and I'm still going to be continuing to learn and grow and evolve, I can just only imagine what the experience of people talking to me will be like. The last thing I wanted to mention is how I'm often confused for an extrovert. So when people see me, I guess at a podium, at comfort level, sort of like talking about big ideas and maybe even doing this. I don't know what your experience of me is like, but I'm not an extrovert like at all.
This whole extrovert thing is one of my pet peeves. I feel like extroverted, introvert, and ambivert are not real things. I think they're misnomers. Being an introvert means that you get your energy from solitude, from being alone. Being an extrovert means that you get your energy from being around other people. I think a lot of people think that introvert and shyness are synonymous when they're not. They are completely different things. I am outgoing, right, in certain social situations if I want to be. But that's not where I get my energy from. So even if I'm enjoying the small talk, I'm working the room, I'm, giving the speech, I'm still an introvert. I'm not getting my energy from giving the speech because at the end of the day, like it's taking energy from me to do this. And for extroverted people, the energy is gathered from doing the very social things. There's also shy extroverts, right? I think that's a big reason why a lot of extroverts might be depressed because they know, well, maybe they don't know, because they need energy from social situations, but they're afraid of other people. And so then it just includes this big dichotomy inside of them. But I have a whole other video about Ambiverts not being a thing. I might do another video about this shyness because people say they're an introvert when they really mean shy. You're really afraid of people. You're not energized by curling up in a corner with a book or going out in the wilderness or being amongst nature and just meditating. That doesn't energize you, but you're afraid of people. Okay, I'm done.
I think I've practiced a lot of speaking and talking to people, and a lot of the ideas that I have, I've thought about them a lot, so I feel like a certain level of comfort with them. And then I have bursts of energy where I can tolerate being around a lot of people. Doing something like YouTube is not really about a lot of people because it's literally just like me and a camera. Like if there's no one here. But I can perform. I have practiced enough to do, in different situations what is expected. So if I'm hosting something, I know how to be funny. I am like a naturally funny person, but I am very funny, actually. I'm the comedian in my family, and my sister just recently, like yesterday or the day before, said, "You are so funny." It's true. I really am so funny. I know how to perform funniness, to get people to laugh. And I know all the rules, which is very important to me. I know all the rules for how to get things done. And so I can do big crowds, I can do a big audience. I just need to know ahead of time so I can prepare myself mentally, physically, because it afterward I'm going to be relieved when it's over because it's tiring. It's tiring to have to perform. It's tiring to have to be around so many different energies. And so when it's over, I'm very glad. And I do enjoy the experiences. It's not to say that, I hate being around other people. I love people. I just don't like people.
And these days I also add in, I know what the average IQ is, and I know that most people are less than smart. Most people are less than smart. But I love people, even the people who are struggling with life, or even the people who, don't do their best or work the hardest or, do their research. I still love those people. I just might not like them as much, and might not want to spend as much time with them. But I have a love for humans that really just transcends everything, every flaw. I love you as a human, even if I don't like your habits. I mean, that's all I like to say. I love being around other people. I just need doses, and I definitely need to know when my time to recharge is going to be. And that's one of the biggest things about being an INFJ. I'm passionate, I'm compassionate, and I love to give to big ideas, to, whatever my goal is. But at the end of the day, I gotta recharge with food, with one person that I really enjoy talking to, with quiet, with nature. I definitely have to build all those things into my life. So I hope this gives you So that's basically the video. Thank you for staying here with me. As you can see, there's been like so much growth for me, even in the last few years as a person. I feel really proud of my growth, and I feel really, really grateful to have it documented. I journal, and so I love looking back a year, 5 years, 10 years. I did a whole other video about that on my channel too, to look at how much I've grown, how much I've changed, and how I continue to evolve. And so doing YouTube is almost like a video diary for me. And so being able to look at myself, like look at my eyes, look at my hair, and like see the change, it's impactful, it's meaningful, it makes me feel special, grateful. I'm so thankful. So if you have any comments, please leave them. Any questions, I respond to almost every comment on my channel. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm, and I would like to share my message of peace, love, joy with as many Black men and women as possible. Also, please share this video if you think someone else would enjoy it, and thank you for watching.